All right, so each of you grew up in Bay Village, which we always refer to as the bubble. So many of us went off to jobs or went to college and kind of eased into that a little bit. I've got to think that transition was a lot different than it was to arrive all of a sudden in boot camp. But we've all seen in the movies, like you said, Greg, your hair's getting cut, you're getting lined up, and you're meeting the drill sergeant or the bosun, whatever you called him. What was it?
Company commander was what it was for us.
Okay, so that was a little different than lining up for gym class at Bay High, I'm sure, huh? Unless Al was running it, you know.
Well, different.
Yeah. So what was it like? How big of a shock was it?
For me, Jim, it was huge, to be honest with you. You know, I get off the airplane in Atlanta and a 2-hour bus ride to South Carolina to Paris Island, and there's little feet prints on the concrete. You get out, you stand there. You beg. So it's like 2:00 in the morning, and you had to sit at a desk until 6-7 o'clock in the morning. You couldn't like nod off or put your head down. You had to sit with your hands on your knees and
The whole time.
For like 3 hours, you know. But just to go from, if you were a lily white community, and next thing, you know, I'm bunking with Puerto Ricans, blacks, Colombians, Mexicans, and you know, you really talk about culture shock.
Things got diverse very quickly.
Very quickly, but I think I'm you know, is what I learned from that though was, as much as we're different, we're all the same. It was kind of amazing after 11 weeks. You know, you got along with the black guys or the Puerto Ricans or the Mexicans. I mean, because we're all in the same boat basically.
Sure,
You know?
just people, humans.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think that was the biggest humanizing thing for me.
So the biggest thing for you was not only the way you were treated immediately, but also the diversity that you ran into.
Yeah.
How about you, Greg? Big shock?
It's funny that you bring that up, Steve, because I've written some stuff down, and that's exactly what it was for me. Not just so much boot camp. I mean, granted, I've never met an actual Mexican person, but like because that was a little different. But throughout my travels, I mean, because I've been to Greece and France and Spain and Africa and all that stuff. The thing that I find, is exactly, I have that written down, is that people are basically the same. They are motivated by the same things. I don't care where you are, what country you are in. We're all looking for the same things. You need, you got your core values, and then people need security. They need love. They need, certain amount of financial latitude. I mean, everybody's the same.
Mm-hmm. Was it a big shock to you when you left Bay, and did you when you landed in San Diego? Was it tough?
Not really. I mean, I knew it. For me, I knew it was the Navy, and I knew it wasn't anything like what these guys went through. So.
Was it really that much different? Do you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, it could. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't. It was no big deal. I mean, they went ahead and shaved your head and made you stand in some lines and it was nothing.
But you weren't trained to be a Marine,
Right?
Yeah. How about you, Al? Big shock when you went in?
Actually, no, but it was an adjustment.
Yeah.
The biggest adjustment, that's maybe a different word for it, but for me, I had some college before I went in the service.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing for me is discipline. Discipline, you know what, you got a timetable, you're supposed to be a certain place at a certain time, you better be there.
Mm-hmm.
And discipline, that's what it taught me. The boot camp, the school I went to down in Key West, again, discipline, you had a timetable, and when I got on board ship, the same thing.
Yeah. But it wasn't that hard for you to acclimate, you're saying? It was just that...
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You know what, coming from my family,
Yeah.
I was fine with that.
Yeah.
But for a lot of a lot of the men that I met at boot camp, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Maybe they hadn't been held in as tight a.
Well, you know what? I remember one fellow from West Virginia. He was so loose he couldn't fold his clothes. He couldn't make his rack, his bed. He couldn't do it. I mean, there were certain ways to do it. The Army way or the Navy way, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. You did it this way. He couldn't do it,
Yeah.
and I had to help him with that. And a lot of the people were like that. And you either learn or you ship out.
Well, you know, I'm going to come back to this in a second, but I want to hear from you, John, because one of the things that we've always had is excellent schools to pay. I mean, we're once again top 1% in the state of Ohio and all. And I want to hear about some of what you saw and the variety that exists out there coming from high school. I know you were coming from college, but, you know, did Bay High better prepare you guys than some of the other people you saw? And that's not always a fair assessment because everybody's an individual, but I do want to touch on that. So, John, when you first got there, big shock?
Yeah, and you know, and I had been warned. And I remember standing in the airport, and the selection officer who recruited me, he said, "Listen, this is really tough. Just take it day by day." I said, "No, I'm really looking forward to this." He said, "Trust me, when you get there, you're gonna hate me." And I remember, you know, within 24 hours, standing, because you're still in civilian clothes, and you haven't had your head shaved yet, but you can't do anything. You can't talk to each other, and you have a little book that you're supposed to read. They call your knowledge. And you're waiting to get shots in your arms, okay? And if your eyes stray from the books, the drill instructors are all over you. And so that was the starting point. And I remember saying to myself, "You son of a bitch, I'm gonna break your neck." And
This is the first 24 hours.
That's the first 72 hours. And then after 72 hours, they finally shave your head, give you camouflage utilities to wear, and you start the program. But in that 72 hours, man, you don't get to bathe. You're staying at attention all the time.
Yeah.
And
They break you down. Yeah.
Oh, it's just miserable.
Did you get your shots then too?
I did. I did. Yeah. And
That
they hurt.
was an interesting.
Yeah.
In the Navy, they call it the Flying Eight. The Flying Eight. You know what? You got in line. You were
Yes.
in single file line, and
Both shoulders.
oh,
Bam,
yep,
bam,
no,
bam, bam.
both shoulders.
Drop the
boom,
shoulders,
boom,
yeah.
boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. Guys in front of me were collapsing and fainting, and I'm going, holy. And some guys were, blood was coming out. And I'm going, are you kidding me?
What were you getting shots for? I mean, vaccinations.
Vaccinations.
But did they ask you if you had prior vaccination? Or
Yeah,
just,
they just
Nah.
gave you shots.
You know what? They don't ask you anything.
so you couldn't have
They
been,
just start doing
given the
stuff to you.
times we're in, you couldn't have been an anti-vaxxer that day, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
walked down the line and there were literally Navy corpsmen with guns on each side,
Yep.
basically
Yeah,
right.
inoculating you.
Flying in.
The last shot, of course, it's a female nurse. It's 1,000,000 units of frickin' penicillin in your cheek.
Really? They gave you penicillin, right?
Oh, I mean, but it was. I want to say it was like 1,000,000 units. It was some. The thing was like a freaking horse needle. and after that,
Oh, you
then we had
couldn't
to run for 3 miles after that.
Oh,
So we get all these shots and we get all this, and then they're like, the drill instructor's like, yeah, we're gonna go out for a little
nature walk.
nature walk. Yeah, he ran our butts for 3 miles after that.
Well, many of us remember we got shots as kids at
Yes.
Westgate with that gun, and you guys got the guns,
Oh
right?
yeah, both sides.
Those things stink.
Yeah.
They did.
I know, yeah, with the air
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
forcing it into you.
And you were getting tons of stuff at one
Oh,
time.
I don't know. Yeah.
8 of them right at once.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, just boom,
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Flying 8, they call it.
And were guys passing out because
Oh yeah.
Right in front
of nervousness or because of some reaction to the thing, or
maybe it hurt. I don't know.
A little bit of
Step over the
you just had to keep going, didn't you?
Keep moving.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Keep moving.